Hey everybody, how's it going? I hope you're having a lovely day. Today I'd like to discuss how Reddit, a website that was critical to me developing awareness of right to repair, my YouTube channel, and above all, the idea that you can fix motherboards, it is not impossible, seems to be shooting itself in the foot in one of the worst ways possible. One of the great things about Reddit is that they have a sub-community for literally anything. If you want to read about finance, you can read about that. If you want to go to a community of people that are stacking silver and coffee beans for the apocalypse, you can read about that. I'm confident that if you wanted to find a community of people that enjoyed having their third toe tickled, you could probably find a community of people that enjoy having their third toe tickled. I'm not kidding. Reddit is one of those places. Everybody likes to complain about it, but at the same time, it is one of those places where you could really hone in and find people that have similar hobbies, similar beliefs, similar problems in life, and really feel like you have found a home there. And I've used it to great success in promoting right to repair, in promoting the idea that you should be able to fix your own stuff, and in promoting my educational content that shows people how they can fix their own stuff, as well as driving legislative engagement, getting people in individual communities to actually show up to their state legislature or call members of their state legislature to try to get consumer protection legislation passed. It's a great tool for that, even if you don't necessarily always like what front pages or what you see out of certain communities. And I think it's very unfortunate that they appear to be shooting themselves in the foot by really screwing over third-party developers. I'm going to go over a post by IamThatIs, who is an Apollo developer, whose post is both informative and unfortunate. It says here, had a call with Reddit to discuss pricing. Bad news for third-party applications. Their announced pricing is close to Twitter pricing, and Apollo would have to pay Reddit $20 million per year to keep running as is. And we are linked here to an article on Twitter that had out-of-this-world API pricing that we will get back to later. Now, it says, I'll cut to the chase. 50 million requests cost $12,000, a figure far more than I could have ever imagined. Apollo made 7 billion requests last month, which would put it at about $1.7 million a month, or $20 million US per year. Even if I only kept subscription users, the average Apollo user uses 344 requests per day, which would cost $2.50 a month, which is over double what the subscription currently costs, so I'd be in the red every month. I'm deeply disappointed in this price. Reddit iterated that the pricing would be reasonable and based on reality, and that they would not operate like Twitter. Twitter was publicly ridiculed for its obscene price of $42,000 for 50 million tweets. Reddit's is still $12,000. For reference, I pay Imager, a site similar to Reddit in user base and media, $166 for the same 50 million API calls. So 50 million API calls with Imager cost $166, whereas with Reddit, it's going to cost $12 million, which is considerably more. Now, he goes over the pricing structure, and he does a little bit of math here to estimate that there's about $500 to $600 million in revenue per year, and he divides this by the number of active users that he claimed in 2019 and assumes that they didn't grow, which comes out to about 12 cents monthly. So Reddit is making 12 cents per month off of each user, yet they are looking to bill people about $2.50 per month if they want to use a third-party application, which is approximately 20 times the amount of money they make if somebody actually uses their app and uses their site, which begs the question as to what their intentions actually are. If you are going to bill people 20 times as much money for using a third-party app as what you would make if they used your app or your website, it doesn't seem to be as much about making money at that point as it does to be about just destroying and killing off third-party applications. And a big part of the problem here is that third-party applications and third-party stuff is really a big part of what makes moderation in many of these communities possible. Being able to use certain type of bots, being able to use certain type of applications that are better than the stock Reddit app and website to be able to moderate. Moderation is a serious issue on Reddit, and it's something that I've gone over many times, whether we're talking about Samsung's deceptive use of Reddit or companies like Iton Medical, who in my opinion were taking part in very obvious and transparent astroturfing campaigns to try and make their company seem better than it was. There are a lot of times where you can log into a Reddit thread and just think, man, it really seems like this is a bunch of bots talking here. Moderation, even with the current third-party tools available, can be very difficult. If you take those tools away, it's going to be infinitely more difficult. And it really does beg the question, if this is about money and not destroying third-party apps, why are you billing people this much money? I don't even bother using the Reddit app on my phone because, in my opinion, the Reddit app is horrible. How many times have you guys clicked a Reddit link on your phone and used the Reddit app instead of the browser and just seen the stupid little Reddit logo spinning over and over again, even if you have a good internet connection? How many times did the Reddit app just not load something that you were very easily able to load using a web browser and old.reddit on your phone? I would rather use old.reddit on my phone than the Reddit app because the Reddit app is so bad. I don't use this application. The Reddit app is just fundamentally bad. And the new website is very, very bad. I like the old version. I always use old.reddit when I use Reddit, and I don't use the app because the app on the phone is horrible. Further, this is also going to affect disabled people. Again, the Reddit app, as I've said, is crap. The new Reddit website compared to the old one, again, it's not exactly ideal, and there are a lot of people who are going to be screwed by this, particularly people who are disabled. Many of these third-party apps that are no longer going to afford to function are applications that actually take into account disabled users using them, people who are going to be using screen readers, people who are blind using the application, whereas the stock Reddit app barely works for people that have functioning eyesight. As somebody mentions in my Matrix chat in the Letters to Lewis, link down below, the proposed changes to Reddit's API will not only isolate blind users from a social network used by millions of people, thus disconnecting us from the wider world, they will also largely decimate communities for blind people and disabled people in general, which have thrived on Reddit despite the company's perceived indifference. The subreddit r/blind is an invaluable resource for blind and visually impaired people around the world. The information on the subreddit has helped countless people in various stages of blindness, with such things as finding strategies to check their pet dog for ticks, providing insights on how to best shop for clothes, giving suggestions to job seekers, or providing resources to people losing their vision who are unsure of what to do or how to cope. Additionally, r/transcribers of Reddit and r/description please are two subreddits collectively composed of 6,000 volunteers around the world who have written 276,000 transcriptions around Reddit over the past 6 years according to their founder, It's the Joker, who also co-founded the nonprofit which funds the infrastructure for the two subreddits. The work of these volunteers allow blind and visually impaired Redditors to not only read text and images throughout Reddit, but also receive descriptions of visual content within images and videos. All of these communities would be demolished by Reddit's API changes as blind people will find it extremely difficult to use Reddit. And to add insult to injury, it has become clear that Reddit is apparently aware of the impact of their decisions, according to It's the Joker, who stated the following in a message which I have received permission to reprint. It's not that Reddit hasn't thought about marginalized communities, specifically the blind community. I have had multiple Zoom calls with a Reddit staff member about these requirements and the importance of API access for both third-party apps and for transcription. They just don't care. Fuck you, Reddit. Blind users have already effectively been deplatformed on Twitter, where API pricing shuttered third-party clients that improved accessibility for blind users. Furthermore, accessibility on Twitter.com and the mobile apps has also precipitously declined after the entire accessibility team was fired. Twitter was also invaluable to blind and disabled communities. Without public awareness, the same will happen to the communities reliant on Reddit, which I think is a crying shame. Now, the one thing that I can say in potential defense of Reddit is it's not a publicly traded company. We cannot see all their finances. When we talk about things like Twitter's API pricing being out of control, one of the very important things to understand about the fever dream of the 2010s is that many companies that became very, very popular, that were very well known, were never actually profitable. They focused on things like getting as many users as possible, getting as much revenue as possible, getting as much advertising hype as possible, having the biggest headquarters and everything else, and having investors pick up the slack for the fact that they never made a net profit because there was so much investment in the 2010s into all this random crap as a result of interest rates being close to zero. And the problem you have with this is that many people wind up getting used to services and just expecting them to exist permanently that never actually made sense. Even the website that I'm posting this video to, lost lots of money every single year, and around 2014 or 2015, around there, Alphabet stopped itemizing out the amount of money that YouTube lost. I want you to think about this. If you're a publicly traded company, wouldn't you want to brag if one of your projects was making money? They don't. A lot of people just assume that something is making money because it exists, when in reality, it may not be making money at all. Look at Twitter. If you look at Twitter's 10K, Twitter is a company that bleeds money. 2012, lost $79 million. 2013, lost over $500 million. 2014, lost over $500 million. 2015, lost $500 million. 2016, lost $456 million. 2017, lost $108 million. 2018, they made $1.2 billion. 2019, they made $1.4 billion. And in 2020, they lost $1.1 billion. And in 2021, they lost $221 million. This is a company that, for the most part, every single year is lighting $500 million on fire. Many modern social media companies, many modern tech companies make no financial sense. They are based on this model where we are going to grow our user base and grow our revenue without ever thinking about what it actually costs. The 2010s were this fever dream era of investment where people were throwing money at all this stupid shit, trying to figure out a way to make returns because interest rates were hyper low. And as a result of it, you have a bunch of companies that never made dollars and never made cents that continue to function. These zombie companies that live off of investor money that don't actually make a net profit. To be clear, anybody who is familiar with my channel knows that there is no love lost for Elon Musk here. I think he is a piece of crap in many different ways. That being said, he purchased a company that could not continue as it was. This company bleeds money every single year, and he is trying to figure out ways to not make it bleed money. Throughout this entire Wired article, it talks about all the different people who are going to be negatively affected, the data researchers, the academics, and this, that, and the other, that are not going to be able to afford this. And while I feel sympathy for them, while they say that no one can afford to pay that, even rich institutions can't afford to pay $500,000 a year for a thumbful of data, you have to understand that this business model that Twitter has doesn't make any sense. I can't look at Reddit's inside numbers. I can't look at their 10Q or their 10K because they're not a publicly traded company. So for all I know, maybe the reason they're doing this is because they are not financially viable or sustainable as a company as is. And if that's the case, I strongly suggest that they come out and say that and explain that and be transparent with their users so that their users do not assume the worst. Because if what they are doing is coming up with this pricing that is way, way more than what you would pay for Imager, and if what It's the Joker said is true, I've had multiple Zoom calls with them about these requirements and importance of API access, both for third-party apps and transcription, they just don't care is true. That really comes off really bad. And what it's going to cause a lot of people to do is say, F you, Reddit, we're not using you anymore. You have to keep in mind that there have been many iterations of online communities over the years. There are many online communities that I was a member of in the early 2000s that went away when MySpace became popular. MySpace went away when Facebook became popular. At some point in time, Facebook will go away. And at some point in time, Reddit too will go away. The community will remember what you did. And screwing over vast swaths of disabled people is a really, really great way to look like the type of piece of shit that nobody wants to give money or revenue to ever again. So I would strongly suggest that Reddit reconsider this, or at the very least, if they're not going to reconsider their pricing decisions, give some damn good reasoning for it, because this is going to result in a lot of people refusing to use Reddit, or people using Reddit with the most restrictive ad blocking humanly possible to ensure that you guys never make a dime off of the community ever again. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you think this is reasonable or unreasonable? Again, when I just look at the numbers here, I honestly kind of wonder, how is Reddit even making 12 cents off of each user per month? When I think about that, I'm just trying to do some basic math here. I mean, when I think about like the 12 cent thing, I have 1.79 million subscribers. God damn, I wish I made 12 cents off each you a month. I mean, like, I really, those numbers are just absolutely out of this world to me. Damn, I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. BlackBerry just did the thing when she actually looked straight at the camera, which is one of the cutest things I've ever seen in my life. She really is cute. I'll link you to all these threads, if not just to kind of raise awareness for what is going on with this website. And again, anything that's going to make moderation more difficult for people, this is a step in the wrong direction. Again, the amount of astroturfing, the amount of companies that game the system to make it seem like there is honest engagement is just... You have to understand that this is with people having access to all these moderation tools that are no longer going to be available or as effective. You have to understand stuff like this. This is going to be a mess. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments down below. This has become a bit of a rambly video, so I'm going to end it here. I'll see you later.